Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, if you would go ahead and proceed with the calling of the roll.
David Thompson.
Here.
Brad Anderson.
Here.
Vicky Wager.
Here.
Steve Ellis.
Here.
Randy Gentry.
Here.
Nancy Alsop.
Here.
Brenda Wilson.
Here.
All right, let's move on to communications from elected officials, other officials, or agencies of the county.
Good evening, council people. Mike Morris, Vigo County Commissioner. Going through your agenda, notice we have a request for a forensic audit. When you're debating that, funding that, could you please explain a few things to the public? What is a forensic audit? Why you feel that a forensic audit is needed? Are you aware of nefarious actions in Vigo County? If you are aware of nefarious actions within Vigo County government, please state what departments those actions have transpired or you suspicion that they are there. If you are not aware of nefarious actions, why do you think additional auditing is necessary? Vigo County just completed a 2-year audit by the Department of Local Government Finance. They had offices provided at no cost by the commissioners in this building. 2 people worked 5 days a week with as many as 5 more working in one of our meeting rooms at times to conduct this audit. The cost to the county was $468,523.77. If you believe that the Department of Local Government Finance cannot perform the work correctly, there are options. Tonight, we have Mr. Reed Dickerson of the Taft Law Firm who can state what those alternatives to the Department of Local Government Finance are. Would you like to hear what that procedure is?
Sure.
Mr. Reed? Mr. Dickerson to me.
Hello, I'm Reed Dickerson. Just briefly, we know this agenda's on the item and you don't want to get ahead of the discussion that's going to occur, but we just want to flag for the record that Indiana Code 511.124.4 does provide a process if a audited entity wants to go outside the normal procedures to seek additional, an audit by an outside entity. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Morris, anything further? No. Okay.
Good evening, Council. Kevin Gardner, County Assessor. I didn't request to be put on the agenda because I've got a situation that this is the first time I've faced. I'm not really sure how to proceed with it. So I just wanted to come up here and basically give you some quick information. The system that my office uses to assess the county is called a CAMA system, which stands for Computer Assisted Mass Appraisal. Our vendor is ProVal. All contracts, we understand, have to be signed by the commissioners, so I will be going to the commissioners next Tuesday. They didn't have a meeting today, so I couldn't go today. But the situation I've got is the county's been with ProVal, which is the current vendor, since middle 1990s. It was a different version. It changed in 2006. It's been under this same version since 2006. In the early 2000s, ProVal had a market share of 87 out of the 92 counties were with ProVal. There are only 3 software providers for this system: ProVal, Xsoft, and Guts. Currently, 4 of them are with Guts, 5 of them are with ProVal, the rest are with Xsoft. So since the late 1990s, early 2000s, Xsoft went from having 0 to taking all of the customers to, as of today, they have 85. Hamilton County, Marion County just switched. Hamilton County is in the process of switching. And if they get us, that would take them to 87 in that period of time. ProVal has dwindled down to next to nothing, which is one of the reasons I'm anticipating making this conversion. I don't think they're going to continue to support the software. They have to re-register every 2 years, which is a costly event. We are currently the largest customer that they have left once Hamilton finishes with their conversion. Their service has deteriorated year over year. When I first took office in 2019, if I had an issue with our system, I could contact ProVal by phone, and within 1 hour they were working on it. Within 24 hours, the situation was resolved. Over the last few years, that lead time has increased to months. I can't make a phone call and talk to a technical support person. I have to submit a claim. I may not get a response for the claim for weeks. I may not get a resolution to the problem for months. In the situation that we're in when it comes to the beginning of the year, when we have to do all of our rolling and all of our calculations so that tax bills can go out on time, this becomes a problem. Now, when we get to the cost of Xsoft to actually buy the software and do the conversion is $390,090. They have agreed to spread that over a 3-year period. The cost of their maintenance, the yearly maintenance fee, is $71,000. We're going to pay that every year. The cost of ProVal is $120,178 a year. That's our maintenance. And we have to pay $3,750 to get our property record cards put on Beacon. With Xsoft, that's included in our yearly maintenance. So roughly, ProVal's is $123,928. Xsoft will be $71,000. For the first 3 years, I will have to spread out the cost of that conversion. So that would cost roughly $201,030 a year, which if you subtract that from the $123,928 that I'm paying now, it's roughly $77,000 more. I will not have to write the first check to Xsoft until January of 2027. So I don't have to ask for an additional appropriation. I'm not here to ask for anything else. This is just an informational thing, and I guess what I would need is kind of a blessing that through the budget process, getting that extra $77,000 for 3 years is a possibility. Because otherwise, I'm going to get the commissioners to sign a contract that we won't be able to pay if I don't get those funds. And I don't want to put the county in that kind of a position. The last thing I wanted to reiterate is in 2022, which is when Xsoft first approached me to convert, they gave me an estimate of $67,200 for maintenance. So from 2022 to 2026, that went up 5.6%. In 2022, I was paying ProVal $92,621 a year for maintenance. In 2026, it's $123,928. That's a 33.8% increase. So I just wanted to put that out there to show that it's, in the long run, it's going to save the county money. It'll take 6 years before it's a break-even point. Then every year after that, it saves the county roughly $52,000 a year. That's just really all I wanted to say. And that's the reason I didn't get put on the agenda, because I'm not really asking for anything, because there's nothing that'll go out this year, but I have to sign the contract this year. So I just want to put that out there. I can give each of you a copy of the contract if you would like. I can email it to you or bring a hard copy. But again, I will be approaching the commissioners next week requesting that they go into a contract.
So, first questions from the council. Anybody? So if you are signing this, will you, even though we don't pay till the first of the year, will you get the new software effective immediately, or will you not get the software until the first year as well?
We will sign the contract to purchase the software. They will put the software on our system in June, because we can't start a conversion until after I roll to the auditor and we get the certified values for 26, pay 27. So we can't start a conversion until after June. But yes, once we sign the contract, they will give us the software this year so we can start our training this year, so that January 1 of 27, we will already be up and running.
And what is I understand you're meeting with the commissioners next week to potentially sign, or are they just going to review? And if,
I will give it to them to review and request that they agree to sign.
so you need an answer by next week for the first of next year, whether or not we can,
That would be my hopes.
okay.
So if I need to, and if we need to push this out a month, it's not that time sensitive, because again, we're not gonna do any type of conversion until mid-June, early July. So if I need to get put on the agenda for next month, I'm okay with that.
Counsel, legal question, sir. Since this is not an appropriation technically, but at the same time, we're committing to expenses, so ultimately it will be, should this be an item that would be advertised? And should it be advertised as an appropriation or not? Because eventually, if we vote on this, let's say next week, and we're actually spending money, I'm a little concerned about that, sir.
I mean, strictly speaking, it's not an appropriation of this year that we have the budget applicable for, but it represents a commitment for future funds in some form or fashion. So I think to err on the side of caution, list it would be probably a good idea. I'll verify that. But that's where my head is going.
President,
Thank you.
Yes.
reassessment fund, is there money in there to pay that?
Reassessment fund is sitting on a surplus of about $1.1 million. And that's what this would come out of, is the reassessment fund,
Right.
which is a levied fund that can only be used by the assessor's office for reassessment purposes.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
You threw a lot of numbers at us really quickly. Comparison, apples, oranges, apples, that
Sorry,
type of thing.
I'm trying to get on 3 minutes.
Yeah,
so-
and I get it. And
Thank you.
you're not on the agenda, so we obviously don't have that. I'd really appreciate it if you could send that to us so that we can kind of go back over the numbers. It sounds like a win, but at the same time, I'd love to see those numbers. Thank you, Mr.
I can
President.
email all of you a copy of the contract.
Okay. I guess my only question would be, is this something that we would potentially wait on and vote on this next month? Or is this something that we should try to have a special meeting with the budget committee to let them make this decision?
I personally think that you should wait for the budget committee.
Okay, so, but we don't have that long, it sounds like, to make this decision.
I don't have until July to go
Right.
before
Right.
the budget committee.
Yeah, it's up to you. It's at your discretion.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the only thing that makes this something that I think needs to be done this year is when I had mentioned the market percentage that ProVal had to what they've got now. It is a costly process for them to recertify this application, this program. With us being the last large county that they've had, at some point, it's no longer going to be cost effective for them to continue to maintain this application. They have a ton of other applications across the United States, and I think they're focusing all their time on those. So I don't really think they're worried about CAMA any longer. That's just my opinion. I would hate for them to stop supporting our software in January. So and I'm not threatening that that's gonna happen, I don't know. But I would hate for that to happen to where come some January, they say, we no longer support CAMA. Then where does that leave us? Because that's the time when I need to be able to send out Form 11s, roll the new data, roll the data to the auditor so that we can get tax bills out. And if I have an issue, which I have right now, IT's working on that with ProVal because the system's at a stop until we get that fixed. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to get put into that position. Because the last thing I want to do is change and have to learn a new software program. But I think we're at the point where it's unsafe to continue with the one we've got.
I think we should, you probably should go ahead and put it on the agenda for next month. and-
For next month?
Yeah,
All
that
right.
way I agree with him, yeah.
Any objections from any council members to that? Okay, so let's shoot for putting that on the agenda for next month so that we can get it and vote on it properly, and hopefully that'll still leave you enough time. The one thing I would say maybe to look at in your contract is similar to, you mentioned on with the company that we're with now, that they continue to raise our annual rates. Maybe is there a provision in this new contract so the new company, if they are going to raise, they are only allowed to raise X percentage each year? Or-
I read the contract and there's nothing like that in there now, but I can contact Brian, the owner, and we can see if something can be done.
Okay, just to protect us so we're not put in a position where they're,
Right,
once they have us, then they can keep raising our annual rate.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, any other, yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Mark Collins. I'm the Chief Clinical Officer for the Hamilton Center. I'm here to give the annual report. I have 7 copies, if you guys would like.
Yes, sir, please, thank you.
I'll try to be as brief as I can. So every year, the Division of Mental Health and Addiction requires us, on behalf of our President and CEO, Mr. Melvin L. Burks, I'm here to present our 2025 data that has been submitted to the Division of Mental Health and Addiction, or what we refer to as DMHA. You will see it's a little different this year, council members, than it was in the previous years. Previously, we would send in a Word document. DMHA would take that document, they would make it a PDF, and they would post it online for everyone to see. They've now moved to a different format where they do what they call a dashboard. All the data that was required for 2025 is new. It came out in legislation in 2024. They provide us with a template that we have to complete for you guys and for the commissioners, which we've already presented at. And so on the very back page, page 5, the very bottom, there's a website. That just became active about 30 days ago from the Division of Mental Health and Addiction. You can go to that website and see all the data for every county in the state of Indiana regarding which community mental health center serves that county and the data that I'm going to talk about tonight. So first, we'll just give you a brief idea of how many individuals we serve in Vigo County, and all the information I'm speaking about this evening is just Vigo County. We served a total of 4,081 patients, unique patients, in fiscal year 25, which runs from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th of 2025. 2,901 of those were adults, 1,180 of those were children. Of that 4,081, 2,135 received addictions treatment, while 3,995 received mental health services. Numbers are duplicated so that if Mark was being seen for both mental health and addiction, I'm going to be counted in both of those numbers. That's why the number is larger than the 4,081. 2,901 adults, 1,180 children. On the second page is just a list of the most common substances diagnosed through the Hamilton Center for those individuals who are active in addictions treatment, both adult and child. On page 3, we list the most common mental health diagnosis by adult. First is major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder is second, schizoaffective disorder is third, and PTSD is fourth. On page 4, we list the most common primary mental health diagnosis for children that we serve in Vigo County. Other conduct disorder is first, generalized anxiety disorder 2, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, is 3, and then oppositional defiant disorder is 4th. For fiscal year 2025, we provided a total of 27,000 clinic services. Clinic services meaning therapy and/or nurse practitioner psychiatry services. 27,269. We completed 1,173 intakes, so those are new individuals walking through the door here in Vigo County to be served, and received more than 1,200 referrals for the year that consisted of Department of Child Services, self, family, guardian referrals, law enforcement referrals, hospital and physician referrals as well. And then finally, of the 4,081 individuals that we served, 92%, or 3,751 of those individuals, fell below the 200% of poverty level for fiscal year 25. In total, we provided 132,925 services. That includes clinical services and additional supplementary services for Vigo County. And we provided charity care relief, meaning we adjust charges off, we don't send to collections, we don't get paid for those charges. Not a contractual adjustment. This is strictly charity care of $1.68 million in fiscal year 25 for individuals in Vigo County. I know that's a lot of information. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a curious question, not that it's, I'm just curious if you know the other stimulants. What are we talking about there? Do you know, have a breakdown of that by any chance? Would that be like, well, I don't even want to suppose what it might be.
Yeah. Let me get back to you on that because
It's not critical, just
the
curious.
diagnosis in the ICD-10 that we use, this other stimulants, really encapsulates almost all stimulants.
Okay.
There are some that are specifically diagnosed. I don't know those off the top of my head. I apologize.
That's quite all right, just curious.
Okay. Any other questions, council? All right. Yes, ma'am.
Speak to all those services you provided, who have certificates of completion, how many patients actually completed a substance abuse program or any of those programs? How many completed?
All right.
Yeah,
Can you repeat that question in the microphone for those who are at home, if you don't mind? Did you-
She inquired about how many individuals have a certificate of completion for who completed addictions treatment. Is that correct? Any kind of treatment, yeah. We are able to get that in our electronic medical record. It's not something that we keep track of as an organization, meaning it's not a standard report that we run that shows X amount of individuals. When we close someone from treatment, we mark them either successful or not successful. So I can pull that information, but it's not reported in this document.
Okay. Is that something maybe you could send us an email on, or?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Judge, for the question. Any other questions, council? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Again, we'll also have opportunity at the end of the meeting for public comment as well. Any other elected officials, other officials, or agencies of the county? Any comments? All right. I'll have just a couple of comments here. One is, this year we are going to make an effort to streamline meetings a little bit, try to move through them a little bit quicker and be cognizant of the time of all the folks that are sitting out listening. We're going to do that in a couple of ways. First thing is we're going to try to, as much as possible, we're going to adhere to the 3-minute rule. So does that mean that there can't be an extension? If it's something that's extremely urgent or pertinent, then there can be an extension, but we're just going to ask everybody to, all year, to try to respect the 3-minute rule as much as possible. Other thing is any request that includes any type of grade change, any type of raise, a new position, anything of that sort that deals with personnel, we're going to ask that all of these requests are tabled until the budget committee, which is when those are supposed to be done. If tabling it is not an option on the part of the party requesting it, then I will request that we table it to go to budget committee, and we can potentially host a special meeting with budget committee to address this. We're going to try to not get off track this year, and I'm guilty of it last year, of also wanting to do our best to hear everyone. And so we did our best to make sure that we got everybody to midpoint. I'm sure there was a few things that might have slipped through the cracks. We will do our best to correct all of that going forward. But anything to do with personnel, we're going to do our best to try to send that to budget committee. All right. Real quick, I need to check my notes. All right. We're going to move on to 3A, adopting the 2026 Vigo County Council rules.
Motion to adopt.
Okay, motion by Councilman Gentry,
I'll second.
second by Councilwoman Alsop. Any questions or comments, discussion?
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
Like to amend Rule 13, going with what you say about the length of meetings.
Yes, sir.
We do have a rule, the 3-minute rule, that pertains to presenters and presentations. I would like to add a subsection. I think last year, the council and their questions would grandstand, and I think that's what made the meetings longer. I would like to add or make a motion that a member shall speak no longer than 3 minutes when questioning any presenter.
Okay.
I'll second that rule, that
The
amendment.
amendment.
So it's a motion to amend and a second by Councilman Thompson and a second by Councilwoman Wigger.
Mr. President, while that may be something that looks like that would be effective, I think you have to understand that by the rules that we're talking about is that there is no limitation on the number of times that a council member may speak or ask questions, as long as they're provided the floor by the president. So while there may be only 3 minutes at one particular time, a council member could still ask 12 3-minute questions if they wanted, just for point of reference on that.
Okay. Discussions or comments from anyone else? Okay, so first we need to vote on the motion to amend. Can we do a roll call, please? And actually, let's repeat what it is. To repeat what we are voting now on is the motion to amend, which would apply the 3-minute rule, not only to presenters that are presenting, but also to us, those of us that are sitting up here.
Correct.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
David Thompson,
Aye.
Nancy Alsop,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
Randy Gentry,
No.
Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Steve Ellis.
Aye. Okay, so now we need to move on to adopt the amended rules. Any questions or comments on that?
Did we have a second?
We had a motion, I believe, by Councilman Gentry and a second by Alsop, if memory serves me right. Any questions or comments? All right, roll call, please.
Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
David Thompson,
Aye.
Nancy Alsop,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
Randy Gentry,
Aye.
Vicky Wager,
Aye.
and Steve Ellis.
Aye. All right, moving on to 2026 council appointments. Those are, you each have a sheet that is an amended sheet because some of the dates were listed as last month instead of this month for the appointments. So if you would all take a moment just to look at those rather than to read through those, after you have a chance, we'll take questions and then we'll vote on those.
It's in there.
Thank you. Oh, it should be on a, just a single sheet that was outside of your packet.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have been inserted in your packet. It actually was inserted.
Here it is, we can look at it.
Yeah, just.
That redevelopment, that is Pat Boston, isn't it?
Where's it at?
Right here. Oh, is Matt Bill you on
Yeah,
there?
and Pat
Okay,
Ralston, yeah.
Okay.
While they're looking at those, thank you to Devin for catching the incorrect dates on that. Appreciate that. Any questions or comments from council on the appointments?
I do have a couple questions.
Absolutely, yes, sir. Councilman Thompson.
Mr. Goff, are you from Vigo County?
No,
Where do you live now?
I live in Evansville, Indiana.
Evansville, Indiana. I guess in light of the $150,000 legal fee request, one of the questions, or one of the lines here says, any and all funds associated with this transfer may be used for any legal expenses. What are you under the impression you were getting paid?
I'm a monthly retainer of $2,500, and then that is the expectation, absent any other additional work that the council has allocated to me to perform.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you.
No problem.
My second question is the council administrator position.
Yes, sir.
What has happened to that?
So the intent was to lead by example. We would have chosen to not move forward with the administrator position. However, we know that she is in the process of applying with another department within the annex, and we're hoping that that position might come to fruition within the next couple of weeks. So if I am legally allowed to do this, I would like to keep her where she's at for another 2 to 3 weeks while that works out.
She signed a 3-year appointment last year, correct? And that was voted on. The motion was made to accept by Brenda and seconded by Vicky, and it was a 6-0 vote. That was before Randy caucused himself in. I think if she gets another job with the county, I think she's a level 11 now, pay grade 11. If she gets another job with the county, I would request her get paid at that pay grade, or stay with the county, with the council.
Okay. So obviously I can't dictate what her pay grade would be with another department. Simply what I had done is I did my best to find solutions and opportunities that would allow her to continue employment with the county while, so at one point a request came in for us to create a new position with the auditor's office. Our goal is to try to reduce the overall expenses of the county if possible. So creating a new position did not necessarily fall in line with reducing expenses. I obviously cannot control what another pay grade is. But what I would say is, and this may be a question for legal, is are we in a position where we legally need to continue with that? And I guess the question that was presented to me is, what if that had been a 25-year commitment or something In other words, at what point are we not able to enter into a contract because there are not funds appropriated to do such? And that may be a question that you can't answer today.
Yeah, I need some time to think through that one.
Okay. All right, so I believe you have a valid question, and I think it warrants being looked into. So if you don't mind taking a look into that.
Sure.
And
Devin, do you have your appointment paper, your term, or the?
In the office.
Okay, you may give that to Mr. Goff to view as well. It wasn't a 25-year appointment. The term limit was in lines with all of our other appointments as well.
anything further?
Nope.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
the only thing again, I was not on the council in January when that vote took place. But one of the things that I think is important is to fully understand that our rules at the time and our rules that were just adopted say that the council president may appoint a administrative assistant. So I would think that that would be something that each president would have the ability, that saying that any particular individual has any particular time, I think is a risky proposition. I mean, if we believe that, she wouldn't have to follow any rules whatsoever or even appear at work if an appointment is set up for 3 years, and in considering that the council would review that, so.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
we voted on the 3-year commitment, and so that, I mean, it was unanimous because Randy wasn't here at the time, but it was 6-0 that we voted on that. And I'm also curious, what initiated her to start looking for a position with another department in the county?
Can you elaborate on your question?
You said she was, because she's in process of interviewing with another department, what initiated that
So,
search for another job?
so knowing that the goal was to try to minimize the overall expenses for the county and eliminate that position, I did not want to see anyone go without a job. I personally started making calls to every department head to see if I could find a position that she would be qualified and enjoy doing, so she would have a place to go. I then called the HR, spoke with Jordan to see if she had any suggestions. So that is how we started down that path. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
And are there other ways that we could cut the expenses?
Yeah, I think there are several ways we
Like-
can cut
like
expenses.
For example, if there's, people that are, the health insurance is a major, major, major cost to us. Are there people that have other avenues to get health insurance that we could request that they not take the county insurance?
Well, that I don't know. I think there are criteria. I assume you know of an example that you're suggesting, but I know there's criteria that people have to meet to get health insurance, and I assume the department that allows us to sign up for that checks to make sure that they qualify. But
Okay.
do you have a suggestion?
That's all I.
Okay, all right. All right, so I believe that Mr. Thompson brings up a valid point. We do need to look into it and hopefully have an answer possibly by next meeting. Okay. So at the moment, side of that appointment, which will stand until next meeting, are there any questions on the remainder of the appointments? Okay, I assume we need a motion to accept all right, do we have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept the appointments that was presented by the president.
I'll second it.
All right, motion by Councilman Gentry, second by Councilwoman Alsup. let's go ahead and do roll call.
Brenda Wilson,
Aye.
David Thompson,
Aye.
Nancy Alsop,
Aye.
Brad Anderson,
Aye.
Randy Gentry,
Aye.
Vicky Wager,
Aye.
Steve Ellis.
Aye. All right, moving on. Reports from committees. Do we have any? Thank you, Devin. Sitting in front of you for the council members is the ledger of receipts, or disbursements and balances for the commissary fund for the sheriff's office. So that's something that you may all take a look at. If you have questions, either now or next week, we can see if we can get some answers on that. But you all have that ledger in front of you. Any other reports from committees? All right, resolutions and ordinances other than appropriations. 5A, 2026-1, Health Department transfer for Griffin Bike Park building cost. And that is going to be page 18, I believe.
Joni Wise, Administrator, Vigo County Health Department. I'm asking for a series transfer from the 3 to the 4 out of our Health First Indiana. When I developed the budget last summer and worked with you throughout the fall, the Parks Department really didn't see a need for anything in the 4 series regarding the finishing of Griffin Bike Park. As the year started to end, they realized that there were shortages due to work changes and other things. And so we're just asking to take money that was appropriated in the 3 series for their Building Better Bikes program and transfer it to the 4 series out of the 2026 HFI budget.
Okay. Any questions or comments by council?
I would like to comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I just appreciate all that you do. I mean,
Thank you.
You look after other departments, and it's wonderful.
That's how it should work. We're all
Yeah.
here for the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, page 19, Parks Department. This is going to be Griffin Bike Park Building Bikes B2 program.
Yep, Adam Grossman, Superintendent, Vigo County Parks. Just requesting that $14,739 into contractual services, 1219-330, or 33300, the 01161 line, for carryover funds from 25 from HFI. Our programming out there has been substantially increased due to HFI funding. Rich Moore, our bike park manager, and Joni were able to go speak at a conference, just kind of seeing what could happen with these funds and the difference that it makes. So many kids nowadays don't even know how to ride a bike. We've had Purdue Extension come talk about healthy eating habits, getting youth on bikes, and that's the big push out at Griffin Bike Park is trying to get the youth active, get them off of their iPads, get them off their phones or whatever they're using now. But get them outside, get them on bikes, teach them, life skills. So this programming has really bolstered that at Griffin Bike Park and our ability to do that. So.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments, council? I hope the other guy looks worse.
Yeah, you should have saw me 3 weeks ago.
All right, moving on to Health Department, New Life Fellowship, Compassion Ministries, food, and this is going to be on page 20, I believe.
All right, my
20
next
I'm
3
sorry,
requests are going to
22.
be relatively easy because they're all 3 programs that you have approved in the past to fund. And with the great reduction in 2026 funding for HFI, we weren't able to fund all of our programs in our 2026 budget. So what I'm asking is from our carryover funds of 2025 to appropriate it for the Crossroads Care Clinic. And I had Sharon Carey come in tonight in case you wanted to hear any updates than those you received last year. Tell them a little bit about what we've been able to do with HFI. Okay.
Well, we were able to cover all of our medical testing last year free to all of the patients that came through our doors, and we were able to expand that a little bit because free sounds really good. So we were able to see more students, college students, and some of those that may not qualify for health insurance, but it doesn't matter whether they have health insurance or if they do not. All of those medical services are free. So there was an increase last year in that. Thank you so much for allowing us to do that. Again, all of our services are free that we provide, and we believe that this year we're going to see more that are coming in for those tests thanks to the health department. So
And this is open to all of the public, correct?
all the public.
And what is the, for those people who might be watching, what's the address or location of that clinic so if people need assistance?
530 Wabash Avenue.
530 Wabash Avenue. Thank you. Any comments from council or questions? I thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Whack-a-mole.
So that was page 20. Page 22, which is the New Life Fellowship Compassion Ministries food.
Yes, same thing. We funded this program last year for the same amount of money, or the county did. And I have Angie or Bill Treadway here to speak about what that funding did for them last year and how they hope to utilize it this year.
Thank you.
Good. Bill Treadway, Compassion Ministries, New Life Fellowship. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the council, thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. As you know, we've got food insecurity problems in Vigo County and Terre Haute, and we want to serve that challenge. We want to fill in that void and do everything we can to help. We're very proud of the fact that we're one of the few charities that we can take a donation and not 100% goes to food, but 166% goes to food because of our corporate partnership with Meijer. We can take, for example, $5,000, give it to Meijer, they give us $15,000 in food cards. Wow. So we're very, very proud of the fact that we can do 166% of everything.
Very nice.
Everything we get in. So I'm going to yield the balance of my time to the lovely and talented Angela.
Well, I'll be quick. So you're looking to know what we were able to do. First of all, thank you all for appropriating the funds for us. It's been amazing because I've been able to buy fresh things, and we've not had a whole lot of that unless we received it through USDA. So just today, Joni actually said she drove by the pantry and saw we had a distribution today, so I was able to include bananas and oranges and carrots along with some other fresh items we already had. It's great to be able to add those things. I've sent pictures to Joni of freezer full of meat more than once, so that's all stuff we did with this funding. That gives us extra options that we've not had, and trying to work really hard on those healthy options to cut away some of the things that weren't so healthy. So I don't know if that answers your question enough, but if it doesn't, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, just thank you again for the funding. It's made a great difference in the lives of our families, trying to help them eat better, trying to give kids better choices to choose from when families come in, because a lot of them do bring children, and so we're trying to push some different options. Sometimes we give out recipes and ideas also, so we are just so thankful to have the funding. It's been wonderful, and we hope that will continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
I would like to say, bless your hearts, in this dreary, awful cold weather, and everybody's been trapped inside to come out and get fresh vegetables and fruit and frozen meat. It's you're God's angels. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, real quick before you walk off, for those people who might be listening, where can they come to get assistance?
Okay, so we are at New Life Fellowship Church, which our pantry is called Compassion Ministries. It's located at 7711 Wabash Avenue, or if you're familiar with our church, it's 7849. It's actually the same parking lot. We just have, the building has its own address. So it's the corner of Wabash and Chamberlain. So, and they, if you can also leave a message if you're needing some help too, and we'll go back with you.
Thank you for all you're doing for the community.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to Health Department Thrive West Central funding request.
This is it. and then you won't see me till next Tuesday.
Oh, no.
Yeah, interesting enough, Ryan Keller and I had started dialogue about how Thrive could fit into Health First Indiana and access to care, because that's a huge barrier for people getting to doctor appointments, getting to go to the grocery store, things of that nature. It was interesting that the state regional team for HFI had already reached out to Ryan and said, maybe you ought to think about partnering with some of these counties. And we're like, we're already there. So this is a program that we funded last year with 2025 HFI funding, and I'm going to have Ryan Keller speak to you about what that funding has meant for Thrive and to the people that use the services.
Hello, good evening, President Ellis and members of the council. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and a huge thank you to the Vigo County Health Department. We've been able to use the HFI funding for a lot of really great access to services for our trips. We partnered with Vigo County Rural Transit, as well as created an urban-to-urban medical-only transportation initiative. And so collectively, we've been able to do in 2025 7,638 trips. Out of that breakdown looks like 35% of that number was medical only, medical necessity trips. 16% was employment. 15% was access to education services, 15% was nutrition, 7% of those were dialysis, 5% was just basic shopping and home care, healthcare needs, and 7% was personal, and anything remaining was just other nondescript services, government services, and things like that. But all in all, it's been a really terrific program, and it's really enabled us to bridge those gaps in our communities where bus service and transit doesn't reach, so we can go out into the rural areas as well as the gaps within the city and get folks to the destinations that they need for care and treatment.
Okay. Questions or comments from council? If someone needs a ride or needs assistance, how do they contact you guys?
You can just call Thrive West Central anytime, 812-238-1561, and connect to our transit department and request a ride on demand.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
See you next Tuesday.
Okay. Moving on to Community Corrections pretrial screener salary request.
Good evening, council members. I'm Bill Watson, the Director of Court Services. I'm here this evening to talk about funding for the pretrial screeners. There are currently 4 in Vigo County. 2 of those are funded by the state of Indiana. 2 are funded by the Vigo County Council. When the pretrial program was established approximately 4 years ago, at that time it was agreed upon those positions would be filled by people who were not certified probation officers. That was an agreement with the court in order to be outside of the mandated salary schedule that the state would apply to those positions. That would allow those positions to be operational but be funded at less than what would be required by state as a probation officer. 2 of those positions are funded by the department or the Office of Court Services annually. The other 2 by the council were never part of the salary ordinance. That was agreed upon in the fact because we have to wait every year till almost the end of the year to find out from Office of Court Services what they're actually going to fund for those positions if they fund pay raises for them. So we did not want to get in a position of asking for something from the council in July or August with the budget hearings and setting a raise that may actually be more than what would come from the state of Indiana. Then we'd be addressing the differences in the salaries. So that's why it was suggested at that time that we always wait till after the first of the year, till all the numbers are in, we know exactly what the state's providing, and then come back and ask the council to fund the 2 positions for whatever is needed at that point. Currently, of those 2 positions, we have maintained one of them vacant for the last couple of years. Basically have asked the pretrial screeners to do more with less to try to conserve money coming from the council side in that fund. So as of now, you would be funding for both positions, but one of those positions is not occupied currently. And that could be impacted in the future by the changes that recently occurred in the court with moving a large number of misdemeanors from city court to one of the county courts. But right now, that position is still vacant, and that request was for $2,982.46 for both positions total.
I'm sorry, one more time, that total was how much?
$2,982.46, and that would fund the pay raise and everything associated with both positions.
Okay, and is this something that could wait till Budget Committee?
In July?
Yeah, I mean, is this something that needs to
No.
take effect immediately?
No, it
Okay.
needs to take effect immediately.
Okay.
Otherwise, Mr. Ellis, we would have 2 people being paid at a state rate higher than the 2 county
Got it.
positions are currently being paid
Okay.
for 6 months.
All right. Any questions or comments from council?
Mr. President?
Yeah. Councilman
Mr.
Gentry.
Watson, so I want to make sure I understand. I had pleasure to meet with you on a couple occasions. I just want to make sure I fully grip this. We've got 2 people being paid by the state funds, and you got 2 people doing the exact same job paid for by the county?
That's correct.
All right. Have all 4 of these positions always been paid identically?
Yes, from the day of inception of the program, yes, sir.
All right. And it's always been the practice that we would catch up in January and modify the salary ordinance to fix this? It's not typically done ahead of time, is that correct?
That's correct, because since they're not part of the ordinance, that's why they wanted to do it that way, because it didn't involve coming back and adjusting the salary ordinance for those positions annually.
Thanks, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. So that I can stay true to what our goal is for the year, I'm going to request that we, if it's possible, for our budget committee, because I think there's a couple of others on here that have to do with either pay grades or positions, but we'll try, if they are available, we'll try to get this done immediately, to have a budget committee meeting so that we can get this resolved as quick as possible.
Thank you.
All right. Now, you also have community corrections pretrial screener for 26-5 on there.
That would
Is
be.
that's
that would
just
still
the
be
second position?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Community corrections employee benefits funding request.
That was the request that you received, and there's been discussion with various council members at times recently and in the past as well about at some point the need to pay the benefit packages for county employees that's being paid currently out of a fund through the Community Corrections Program, a user fee fund. That fund can no longer continue to sustain everything that it has sustained for the last 25 years out of that fund. It just, that money's not there anymore to continue to do that with the large increases over the last 2 years with health insurance going up almost $200,000 from 23 to 25. With the state cut that we just took to the budget of $119,000 annually, and with no base budget increase from the state of Indiana now for almost 13 years to that program, that fund just cannot keep absorbing all of those increases at the rate that it has been and keep up with cost increases. So that's where the request for the funds for the benefits comes in. There was a period of time that the county paid for those benefits for that program for over a 10-year period when the program was first started. And that was prior to me becoming director, and then at some point, somewhere along the line, that was just stopped. I don't know why. No one seems to really have the history that they can tell me why that occurred long before I became director of court services and community corrections. So that's why we're back here now, plain and simple. The fund's out of money, the money's not there, can't sustain it. The advisory board had requested that I come and address this with the council in order to know what their future plans are and what we have to do going forward.
Okay. Comments, questions from council?
Mr. President?
Councilman Gentry.
Mr. Watson, I'll
Yes, sir.
try to keep we've already had multiple conversations, so there's, but for the public's knowledge, this is a considerable amount of money.
Correct.
You and I are on the same page. We do not want to see community corrections in any way have to close doors or be the intricate role that you have currently within our community. But it is $700,000 plus or take a few bucks. And I just want to ask you if there's been any efforts whatsoever to, with the Community Corrections Board, Oversight Board, whatever that technical term is, to try to get ahead of this and address this in any way. The last question I would have is, did the Community Corrections Board, when they get the money from the state, do they funnel it to the various different line items? So when we look at this as a benefits shortage, can that money be spread out in any fashion when it arrives from the state? So those are my two questions, sir.
When the money arrives, it funnels through the auditor's office, sir. We don't get it. It's a community corrections budget, but all that is controlled through the auditor's office by the budget they receive from our board after it's passed by the state. And it's just like the county, line item and series. And if we want to move anything from that or within that budget, unless it's within series, that has to come from the Department of Corrections. They have to approve any and all of those moves after the board approves them. So moving it around, no, they budget it, I think, as our discussion we had before. Anything in the 100 series, they don't let you touch that and move that anywhere except where it's for, plain and simple. Any dollars moving into the 100 series from the outside, there has to be justification for why those dollars are moved. And traditionally, that's not been anything they've been real open to. This last year, they did allow us to move some money from 100 series out, but no money in at the end of the year in order to reduce carryover dollars coming back in because they knew they were going to cut budgets. There was projected budget cuts. So they thought that might help if people could move money out to other areas. If someone had a position that was vacant for a long period of time at the end of the year or for 4 months, what have you, they let agencies move that money out to another approved line item by them, but only approved by them. So we were not in that position. Of course, we didn't have any extra money to do that with. So,
As a follow-up,
Yes, sir.
is there any long-term suggestions or fix? I know you and I, again, have had multiple conversations, but I'm afraid that we all know the state's going to start cutting their funding additionally. At least that's what they're signaling.
yes.
It's going to be very difficult for the county to keep up with this. And I'm just curious, as the Community Corrections Board yourself, have any long-term solutions to fix this?
We've looked at some things that will never, I can tell you, they will never cover this cost again in that manner, simply for the fact generation of revenue in this fund, over 90% of that revenue comes from the offender population that pays fees to be on electronic monitoring, that pays fees to be in residential, or whatever that is. Things we've done to address that. The board recently increased the fees on that program for the first time in 13 years, almost 14 years. We've not raised fees on defendants. We're still one of the 5 lowest counties in the state of Indiana on what we charge defendants, even after increasing our defendant rate, because it's a population, as you and I discussed, higher risk, higher need population doesn't always comply with a fee schedule. That's the least of their concerns, is paying their fees. So we try to maintain something, and the board has always been very concerned about reality versus wishes on what you can charge that population and what you may get in return. Rate of collections for that, since that increase, what we have brought in that program is up by 40%, but that's still not near enough to assist with covering something like that. That's helping to cover the increases in other program expenses, papers, supplies, utilities, any of those things, vehicle maintenance, those types of things, fuel, that's all increased along the way. That 40% is really just help offsetting the cost of those things alone and of being able to absorb that. The board has looked at other possibilities and options. One of the things we have done, we've combined we have combined positions and kept staff positions that were once in the budget. We have taken them out. They're not even there to fill anymore. We have removed them, the board has, from the budget, and basically said to some people, do more with less. And unfortunately, my staff does more with less. I have 3 electronic monitoring case managers that are currently supervising between 90 and 95 people apiece, and they should be supervising 50 because we don't fill vacant position to try to preserve money and save money. We currently operate with 2 field staff. We should have 4. We eliminated 2 positions to try to conserve money, change their schedules, they work different hours, those types of things. So the board has been proactive for a number of years as we've talked about this possibly someday becoming a reality. And it's been addressed in the past with others as well about this someday becoming a reality. But as I told you, oftentimes people looked at this fund and seen a lot of money in it and kept saying, oh, you got plenty of money, don't worry about it. When I was worried about it 10, 12, 15 years ago, as some of the board members can tell you, I was constantly met with, oh, don't worry about it, there's a lot of money in that fund. Well, what people don't understand, or they weren't looking at the time, we all know. Costs go up, less money comes in, the divide gets wider. And it kept growing and growing and growing. For me, the projections we had showed this fund would not experience something like this for at least another 5 to 7 years. But unfortunately, we were not counting on a 20% cut from the state of Indiana, facing another 20% cut next year, and health insurance costs going up 41% from one year to the next in this fund. All of those things took that hit, and a fund that had been healthy and sustained for over 20-some years basically had the bottom cut right out of it in a matter of months versus years. So we still continue to look at things that save money. As far as the operation of the residential center, we run on minimum staffing. We have changed schedules and put people on 12-hour shifts to get rid of 8, so reduce positions, eliminate the need for positions. When I needed more staffing recently, as the numbers in the center rose and reached capacity for safety issues, I took supervisors that did not work a 12-hour shift and a rotation schedule. They now work the same shift as the line staff they supervise, 12-hour shifts on rotations, holidays, weekends. So we've been very proactive in doing things to keep costs down. And the board has been on top of these things and very supportive of them. But, you know, I guess as someone once said that I worked for here in the county, eventually there's only so much paint in the bottom of that can, and you're going to reach it at some point. And unfortunately, Councilman Gentry, that's kind of where we're at this point. There's no more paint at the bottom of that can.
Any other questions, comments?
Bill, when we spoke the other day, how long can you sustain this at all? Are you going to be in the hole for this
I'm in the
year?
hole now.
You are? Okay.
Yeah. When you go to draw March insurance out of my fund of $75,000 for February, it's not there.
Okay.
I can lay off somebody, and maybe it'll be there, but I can't lay off somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilman?
Can you increase your user fees?
We just did 3 months ago, and that showed the 40% increase in that fund, Councilman, as I said, but that's basically just offsetting the increases in everything else that we're absorbing. I mean, utilities on the facility alone from last year to this year went up almost $8,000 in a year. And those are going to go up again in '26 for sure. Gas bill.
Are you paying for the whole facility?
My understanding is everything except maybe the 4D portion, court of the building, I think they pay facility, but we pay everything else, yes. On the whole building.
911 and all those there?
I'm not sure how that's carved out now, but we were paying it before, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's important for them to understand it wasn't a moderate increase.
No, the fees increased from basically, they're the same across the board. It's $115 per day now in the programs. Electronic monitoring, or it's $115 a week, excuse me. Electronic monitoring used to be like $7 something a day. That's almost $15, $16 a day now. I mean, there was as Deputy Prosecutor Roberts said, there was a significant increase, over 50% increase across the board in fees to everyone. You know, and no one likes to do that, but you have to help yourself.
And if you got somebody from out of county, they pay more?
Yes, out of county pays more. In fact, Judge Johnson is here this evening. When we had an initial fee structure for that, for the out of county, Judge suggested that we look at an even higher rate for those people that were coming from out of county because they were getting a service from us that they needed, or we were taking on an extra, and we did. They pay a higher rate, almost $10 more per day for the program.
Let me mention also, I'm on the board of community corrections. The folks who wind up in community corrections are also folks who have a difficult time paying their bills, and it's difficult to collect the fees. And if it wasn't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all collecting the fees.
We have done, as Councilman Wager says, you know, collecting fees from this population is difficult. They have a lot of needs and a lot of problems that we have to be cognizant of, excuse me. But still, even doing that, our rate of collections is approximately 70%, 71%. When you're talking about the population we're dealing with, that is pretty good. I can tell you that there's other communities in the state, and I'll give you one, and it's openly talked about by that director. Marion County's rate of collections, you know what it is? Less than 3% on everyone that goes into their programs. They collect less than 3% of the fees charged to their programs. Marion County's eating that pill every day, funding there. So we're fortunate we don't have to come to the well anymore, or to the bottom of the can than we have here. In my time as director, this is the only time that we've come and asked. And there's been times that we've returned dollars, like in the last few years, we've returned dollars, even on the mental health side that you fund a lot of money to. We've returned some of those dollars because of changes that we've made to our operation to reduce those costs, even to try and save money on the mental health treatment side. So I feel like, you know, as far as what we've done, we've been very cognizant, cut corners, and continue to do way more with less, because we've been forced to do that from the state side for the last 13 years without increases. And, you know, we've just learned to absorb that. It's not anything that's pleasant for staff, for sure. But I have good staff. They work hard. They do. And they step up, and they've done these things. They've made these changes. I mean, taking supervisors who used to work in 8 to 4 Monday through Friday, weekends and holidays off, and saying, look, guys, you got to go on shift. You're going to work 12-hour days, just like the people you supervise, and you're going to work the weekends and holidays right along with them. Those supervisors are still there. They never left. And was it a big change to their families and their lives? Yeah. Did I like that? No, I don't like changing people's lives that drastically, but we don't have the money to go hire more people and fill those needs. And safety within the facility has to be a priority. It just has to be.
Let me say, Bill, the catastrophe would be if we close this facility, we're gonna be building a pod on that jail, and we're talking some big money at that point. And I don't see how we have a choice.
If the treatment center side of community corrections would go away, within 10 days, I would put between 80 and 90 people in the jail within 10 days. And the people coming out of the jail would then come at a much slower flow, because you only have one program to move them to at that point. And Rob can testify more to this. If I only have electronic monitoring to move people to, there's a lot of people that's never coming out of that jail. They're going to sit there and sit there and sit there until there's a decision on a plea agreement that it will either send them to the Department of Corrections or somewhere else. I don't want to speak for the prosecutor's office, but it's just like the faucet, you know, you tighten it down, it becomes a trickle. It will become a trickle with people coming out because you're only bringing them out to one program and in limited numbers, and that program will eventually be capped if it keeps going at the rate it is. I can't keep asking case managers to supervise 100, 110, 120 people, and that's what will happen. If that side closes, everybody's going to try to rush into the other side, and they can't keep up with the flow, which is kind of what's happened to the system with us now. I said to my board members the other day in a meeting, we're kind of like the last piece in the pile, and the inmates or the water has finally come over top of us. I mean, we've managed it for a number of years, and I feel we've been very effective at it. But we can't hold it all back anymore. We just can't, and do what we've been doing. So, and I know it's a huge ask, but it's just where we're at this point.
Did you have more? Okay. Can you, I know certainly we don't have a crystal ball, but this is roughly 700,000 now that gets us through to the end of the year, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Yes.
All right. Is there a way for you guys to come up with projections based on a pattern that we've seen as to what next year we will need to come up with, and perhaps the year following that, as we start seeing less and less funds coming in? To simply put $700 out there, it's a Band-Aid that fixes it till the end of the year, or even less money for less period of a time. But ultimately, if the goal is to keep this program up and running and keep it running strong, we need to figure out how we're going to fund it as more and more funds go away. So if there's a projection that you could come up with once you get back to your office and have a chance to speak to with your accounting department, that might be helpful for us to know what we need to start preparing for.
The biggest factor, and I can do that for you, the biggest factor that's always going to affect this is the health insurance. And that's an unknown, just like to you guys, every year till you get that figure. The other things, yeah, I can build in percentage of projections and know, and this fund can continue to cover those types of things. But from the health insurance standpoint, like I said, we were fine until it jumped $200,000 in 2 years and took a 40% jump this year, just like you were stunned by that. I mean, what is it, $40,000 per employee for the health insurance side now? And you know, that's a significant pop, and I know that. And that's tough for you guys to budget that and manage that. I know that. And that's why I don't feel good about having to ask for this, but it's just at that point, we have no more options to cover it. If we can if this is covered, then I know we can look at rebuilding the funds on the other side to continue to take care of those things we don't ask you for, salaries or pay raises that would still come out of this fund that we wouldn't be asking you for. This fund would be able to reestablish its own health and take care of those things going forward.
Any other questions or comments from council? Yes, sir.
Another conversation and waiting for some numbers from you, Mr. Watson, was you came online in January with the ability to bill insurance, Medicaid, Medicare, and private insurance for some of the medical services now due to, I think, accreditation.
Yes.
Any new numbers as to what you think revenue stream-wise that you'll be able to pull down off of that?
Probably not for at least 6 months, Councilman, because the problem with Medicaid is every day changing or continuing to make changes of what they do and do not pay for. And we've only been doing it now for about 45 days, maybe. So we can't really tell what that trend is. And Medicaid has a terrible history of, we've learned, paying for a service and then coming back later and telling you that they overpaid and they need that money back. And that's very common, I think. Well, I was going to say Joni knows because she and I have had this discussion at great length because they also bill things under Medicaid, and that's one of the big frustrations. And she cautioned me about that when we were going into it. She said, be prepared because this is what happens, you know. And the different groups with Medicaid, the different healthcare groups change constantly about what they will pay for and what they won't pay for, depending on who your clients are covered with. And then like MedWise just pulled out in Indiana. I mean, you know, working with the state, what that did. And, you know, that's a huge hit. Well, we had just started billing with that, only to find out that almost 60% of the people that were inside the residential center were on MedWise that we had just started billing under. So now getting them with another entity and finding out what that entity is going to pay and what they're going to bill at, those are everyday things we deal with. That's what I'm supposed to deal with, and my people that handle that deal with, and we'll deal with that. And I wish I could give you a better answer, but it's just way too early to project that right now. But there are other things that we've done as well, things to try to generate additional revenue from anywhere. I said sometimes I feel like the guy collecting aluminum cans, but we do things that provide services for the population at the cheapest rate possible that will generate some revenue to help us absorb some of those expenses. So it's kind of a win-win both ways.
Bill, didn't we do that with the jail on Medicare and Medicaid?
They worked on something with that. In fact, the sheriff and I have set up a meeting to start talking about some things where there's a type of Medicaid that I've learned about that he can get within the jail that will help pay for some of the medical costs within the jail for these people that go out on these hospital runs and things. So we've dug more into that, my psychiatric nurse practitioner and I, and Medicare and Medicaid, and we've learned this with the jail's medical group also. So we've really had really good communication and working with the jail's new medical group at trying to find these things for both of us on both sides of the aisle to try to eliminate or alleviate medical costs from both ways. So yes, that's a meeting we have with the sheriff to talk more about, Brad. Derek wants that soon, so.
All right. Thank you so much for all your hard work, and certainly we can appreciate the extra stress this has added to your position to try to figure out how to navigate this, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 2026-7 Family Court Project Funding Request.
Council President Ellis and council members, thanks for the opportunity to present today about the Vigo County Family Court Project. Candace Brown is handing you a packet that has some support letters. I did talk to President Ellis earlier about giving me a little bit of leniency on the 3-minute rule. I think I've got a lot to say. I did cut this presentation down by half, and if you know me, that's really hard to do. Strong parent-child relationships are the cornerstone and foundation for building a better community. Strong parent-child relationships and emotionally healthy children is the way to minimize juvenile delinquency, reduce jail population, and stop building bigger jails so we can focus tax dollars on things that improve Vigo County. So why is early intervention important in divorce cases? Because there is an abundance of research that shows that children of divorce have a higher chance of academic underachievement, substance abuse disorders, depression, anxiety, aggression, conduct disorder, general delinquency, impulsive behaviors, and those children from high conflict divorce have higher rates of chronic stress and emotional distress. Maslow's hierarchy of needs lists safety and security as the next important factor after basic survival needs like food, water, and shelter. There are studies following children over a long period of time that show that children who are insecure in kindergarten at the age of 5, because of parental conflict, are more likely to have adjustment problems by the time they reach the 7th grade. Children who experience regular parental conflict tend to display behavioral issues such as aggression, disobedience, and acting out. Just ask any teacher in Vigo County how much more time they have spent over the past several decades on behavior problems versus education. Children who have lived with high conflict are less able to solve problems, negotiate interpersonal relationships, they have higher levels of social anxiety, and they tend to develop more severe mental health problems such as PTSD and borderline personality disorder. This describes exactly what we are seeing in our society. including Vigo County. Just look around. Look around, what are you seeing everywhere? What are we seeing in our schools? And if you haven't seen it, ask our teachers, ask our law enforcement, ask any of the judges. This is exactly what we are seeing in our society. So I'm not going to get into the details today of how the Family Project works or all the services we're providing. You've heard all of that. I'm just going to repeat that it's a holistic approach, and it needs to continue if we want to see long-term results. I consider myself a practical person. I understand the council has to be able to afford the project. I get that. But in my opinion, the real question is whether Vigo County can really afford not to have these early intervention services. And the conversation you just had with Bill Watson and Community Corrections is a perfect example, and I'm going to get into that in just a minute. So I want to talk a little bit about some figures and the vicious cycle that we're in. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, the U.S. as a whole spends, on average, $31,286 per year per inmate. According to the Vera Institute, the 2024 operational cost to house inmates, both in and outside of Vigo County, was around $15 million. And with an 80% capacity of 432 inmates, Vigo County spent $34,722 per year per inmate. In contrast, Vigo County is spending $12,428 per student for grades K through 12. So we're spending 3 times more per year per criminal to house them in a jail versus spending on the education of our children. It's outrageous. And I don't think it's a reflection of what our priorities should be. And aside just from those financial figures, if you're not outraged by that, if we've got 432 inmates a year, ask yourselves, how many of those inmates have children that they have left behind at home? There's an abundance of research that's going to tell you that parental imprisonment has a short and long-term negative impact on children. Quite frankly, I don't think we need research to tell us that. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to know that children are going to be negatively impacted if you have a parent in prison. Let's talk about the figures for the Indiana Department of Child Services, because Vigo County has the highest volume of CHINs and parental terminations. Vigo County DCS served 510 children in 2024 for a total expenditure of over $15 million. In 2025, Vigo County DCS served 626 children for a total expenditure of almost $19.5 million. And so if you assumed the best case scenario, that each family had only one child, and you all know that is unlikely, the least amount of operational cost of the Vigo County DCS in 2025 per family was $31,150. And if each family had more than that, well, those figures just double, don't they? So between housing jail inmates and temporarily removing children from their parents or terminating parental rights, we are spending more than $30 million a year just in Vigo County, year after year after year, with no solution in sight of how are we going to reduce these costs. Here's a hard fact. Research shows that 40% of children sentenced to juvenile detention are going to end up in prison by the age of 25. Another hard truth, the families that comprise DCS and the jail, they are generational. So we should be asking ourselves, has this all been money really well spent, or is there a better, more cost-effective solution? We talked about it, 2019, the county was forced to build a jail due to overcrowding and a federal lawsuit, spent $60 million. It opened in 2022. By 2023, it was over capacity. It is still over capacity. To be clear, it is not anyone's fault. It is the environment that we are in. We have a lot of people committing crimes and ending up in jail. A bigger jail is not going to solve these problems. There's a plan underway to expand community corrections. That could cost anywhere from $15 to $30 million, right? It's to alleviate the jail overcrowding, which is important. It also serves a very important purpose of trying to get these people the services they need to get back on track. Bill Watson does an amazing job. And so I'm certainly not here to object to that plan because it is needed. But here's the problem to consider, and I think you see it now. As the jail keeps getting filled up, you keep incurring those jail operational costs, and you keep needing community corrections and expanding. Those costs keep continuing, and there is no end in sight. We have to have a plan of how are you going to stop it. And if we keep spending money on this, where is the money for our children and the next generation? Where is the money to grow Vigo County to make it better? We've got to focus our efforts on reducing the problems that are leading to incarceration, not just paying for the incarceration, not just paying for the expanded services. We've got 92 counties in Indiana, and here's where Vigo County is in several categories. We're the 4th highest for child poverty, 90th for food access, which is one of the worst, 3rd lowest for unemployment, 87th for overall social vulnerability, 4th worst for child care cost to income ratio, 87th in quality of life. These are not numbers to be proud of. We have to start thinking about a strategic long-term solution by investing in programs that give families the tools they need to help themselves. The Family Court Project, it is not a handout. These people have to do the work to improve their situation. We are giving them the platform and making those services available. We bill insurance first if it's available, and if there's no other source, that's when this funds come in. The Vigo County Council has a rare and powerful opportunity to move beyond managing consequences and simply paying for problems. You have the power to help build sustainable solutions. Funding the Family Court Project is a strategic investment in efficiency, public safety, and long-term cost savings. It demonstrates a commitment to children, families, and community. Now, I've certainly got numbers I can share with you on specifically what's the breakdown of how do we spend the money. And I can give you, personal success stories. But I think it's better if you hear from people who have actually been part of the project, participated in somehow. I think they can give you some insight. So I'm happy to answer questions, but and I can come back and do that, but I'm going to call Susan Martis up here, and I think she's going to give an explanation of her experience with the program.
Thank you. Let me pull up my presentation here. I had computer problems, so that's why I was a little bit late, and my husband wasn't home, and he's the IT guy. So anyway, good evening to President Ellis and County Council and guests. My name is Susan Martis, Susan Hamblin Martis, and I'm a lifelong resident of Vigo County, a retired educator of 45 years, serving the Vigo County School Corporation as a classroom teacher, a writing teacher through the administration's curriculum office, a dean of students, a principal at Deming Elementary, which was the highest poverty school, and Woodrow Wilson Middle School. I also had the honor of mentoring new principals for the state of Indiana and was an adjunct professor at Indiana State University. I am an advocate for children. I've given you a packet, and some of the letters in there were written earlier. It conveys to you a young father that my husband and I met by accident. He was doing work for us, and the challenges that he had faced, and he went through the program. And as a principal, I really didn't know all of the program and the bits and pieces and everything that they do for these children and their families. So as I walk through this program with this, what we call adopted son, I was amazed. And I just could not believe all the services that this project affords for our students. So I'm going to go back to my script. And it's just a heartfelt thing for me. And, you know, I just am so grateful for this program. So I want to show what Dustin's, and he's given me permission to use his first name. These letters show exactly what this program does. It provides guidance, accountability, and encouragement at the moment families need it most. And as Judge Reddy said, the sooner the better that we get the intervention. In the past, Dustin grew up with instability, divorced parents, and the loss of a safe home. He lived at the Lighthouse Mission with his uninvolved alcoholic and drug father and his younger brother. At 15, he dropped out of school, earned his GED, and worked to support them both. His grandfather was the one steady influence in his life. His early adulthood included drug and alcohol misuse, time in jail, and house arrest. He lost his driver's license for 10 years, which limited his ability to work. During that time, he became a stay-at-home father. He got the boys to school, helped with homework, kept their routines consistent, and did everything he could with the resources he had. When his marriage became toxic, he left. His wife filed for custody after they divorced, after an alleged incident, but later acknowledged he was not trying to harm her. The judge granted joint custody. At that moment, he was living in a friend's basement because he didn't have a home. But he immediately secured an Airbnb and paid for it in full. And fortunately, a good friend of ours, and Neil Reed, a pillar of our community, didn't charge him any taxes, didn't charge him any fees to have the Airbnb. Members of our church discounted a truck they had for sale, making it possible for him to purchase it. After regaining his license, he worked consistently. My husband and I paid for the truck up front, and he has never missed a single payment, and that's been almost a year. He entered the family court project through a court order, but he chose to participate fully. He completed every class with high marks. His instructors, employers, and church community described him as dependable, respectful, and hardworking, and you will see in your packet letters from those people. His mother, the mother of the children, is now a steady, positive presence for him and the boys. In the present, Dustin is a changed man. His boys' lives are stable and thriving. Their grades have risen to honor roll status. They have received character awards at school. One son had his artwork displayed at the Swope Art Gallery. The oldest plays basketball at the Boys and Girls Club, and both parents attend every game. The parents are now co-parenting. They are not together as a couple, but they are co-parenting very effectively. They share meals together and work cooperatively to support their children. What once was uncertainty is now a healthy co-parenting relationship centered on the boys' well-being. This stability, academic, emotional, and relational, is the direct result of the structure and accountability this program provides. Looking to the future, Dustin's opportunities continue to grow. He has earned a foreman position. He has received a company truck. He has even been asked to invest in the business. His life has changed dramatically, and it changed because the program exists. In summary, this program helped transform a young father's life, and more importantly, the lives of his two boys. This is what happens when families receive structured guidance, accountability, and support. This is what your investment makes possible. Tonight, I respectfully ask for your continued support. Your decision directly impacts real families, real children, and real futures. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to the families of Vigo County. Now, if we could just breeze through this packet, I just want to point out.
If I could interrupt for just a moment.
Sure.
We're going to ask council members to read everything inside the
Okay.
packet on their own,
Okay.
just so we can be respectful of everyone else that's here
Right.
at the moment.
Oh, and so I wanted to just note that many of these certificates are from this project.
Absolutely.
Everyone that works, they work very hard, and it is so positive. I wish that in my 45 years of education, I would have known more about a project like this and been more involved. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank Judge Reddy on an excellent presentation. Very impactful. Thank you very much. Are there any questions from council?
I got two more people. They're going to be really quick. I
Oh,
promise.
okay.
I promise.
Okay. So, when you hear the alarm go off, that is the sign that the timer or the time is up.
Oh, yeah, mine's very quick. We entered the court project. We turned to drugs and had, went into a very dark place. I chose drugs instead of making good choices, and it cost me time with our child. The judge ordered us to do supervised visits and domestic violence classes through the Family Court Project. And at that time, we didn't have jobs or a way to pay for the services. But because of the funding from the Family Court Project, we were able to complete everything and do what the court ordered. We did our supervised visits and finished the classes. We stayed involved and worked hard and changed our lives. Today, we have our child. She does really well in the 2nd grade, and she does very good in gymnastics and sports. I completed my probation because of the project. I've become a store manager and got my license back. We're really proud of how our family got to stay together because of the Family Court Project.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your success. Please keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I promise I'll be really short.
Yep.
Rob's taught me how to talk fast. So my name's Brittany Quantz. I'm the Director of Victims Assistance with the Prosecutor's Office. I actually refer some children from criminal cases that we have had, especially with our Special Victims Prosecutor, who's here beside me, Kevin O'Reilly. We made 17 referrals last year. 4 of them were involving murder cases, 7 involving child molest cases, 4 for domestic violence, and 2 for OVWI resulting in death. We've been able to get individuals in that wouldn't have gotten services either way. A lot of the child molest cases, they've closed out. With DCS and different things, they did not have any involvement. These services that we've gotten for these victims, it could be the direct victim of the crime, it could be someone, another sibling who had observed the crime, or a surviving individual such as the children that we referred for the OVWI resulting in death or the murder cases. These are the earliest services that we can get for these children, and the sooner they are involved, the better it is for us, especially as we start looking with child molest cases and with the Kids in Court project that I have built with Susie's Place here in Vigo County to be able to help with reducing the re-traumatization that children have as they go through the process. With the Kids in Court, we are able to be present with children during like child hearsay hearings, trial, and prep. It's very helpful when we have the kids in at the Family Court Project involved, because then we can bring that therapist that has been working with that family or the case manager and different individuals into the room, into the courtroom to identify the triggers and to begin working with those children to reduce the traumatization that that child has. It is a very multiple disciplinary approach that allows us to work on a holistic approach to help these children and to try to make going through the court system as easy as we possibly can.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
That's it.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions.
Do we, first, Commissioner Morris, did you have something to add to this, or
Oh,
can we
I'm
open it up
sorry.
for questions?
You guys have all been made aware of the opioid settlement money. The commissioners support this 100% funding out of that, and we continue to advise you on the amount of funds in that fund and as it proceeds.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
Do we have questions from council? Comments? Commissioner Wilson? I'm sorry, Councilwoman Wilson.
President Trump made that same.
Yeah, right.
Same mistake, that's okay. I just want to commend you. I appreciate the fact that you have such a heart for the kids, and it doesn't go unnoticed.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from council? I'll follow up with just a couple. I'll make mine very brief. Approximately how many children can you help in a year's time? Or can you have an impact on?
In a year's time, how many children? I'd say about, in the first year, we did 300. And so when you look at those numbers with DCS, in 2025, they did 600 at about $19.5 million. I'd say $250,000 request is a drop in the bucket.
Okay, so the 250 gets you through to approximately what kind of time frame? Does that?
A year.
It does cover a year.
It'll cover a year.
Okay,
So,
and
and I did look at our figures we got 200,000 for the fiscal year 2025. We have about 24,000 left, but only because I stopped that project at the end of November when I realized there wouldn't be funding, because I didn't want to be in a position where we'd overspent. I didn't want to, because we get bills sometimes 2 or 3 months late, so, we have a little money left, but we spent all of it.
next question for you is last year we appropriated 150, I think it was, to Casey. Am I correct that he is partnering with you to help your program as well with those funds?
That money is completely separate.
Okay.
So whatever he got, that's probably separate counseling for other organizations. So this request is just for the court, so it's the referrals that the court makes.
Okay, I apologize.
Right.
I was under the impression that he was working with you.
We do collaborate. So,
Okay.
so Candace Brown is our family court navigator. She is employed by Chances and Services for Youth. So the way it works is I'll make an immediate referral to Candace. Candace will then decide which providers can get people in the quickest. Sometimes it's Chances and Services for Youth, but there's also 6 or 7 other providers locally that can get people in. So it's not always them. So does that answer your question?
I think so, yeah. All right. Thank you for the impactful presentation.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 2026-9, Prosecutor's Office Victim Assistance, Assistant Director Salary Adjustment Request.
Did you skip the Veterans Court?
Oh.
Oh, no, you didn't. Never mind. Oh, did you? Did we skip Veterans Court?
Did I? I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's all right.
That's
Sorry
okay.
about
I skipped
do it.
Veterans Court, my apologies.
President Ellis, members of the council, Charles Johnson, Vigo County Superior Court Division 1, Taylor Trinkle, Coordinator for the Vigo County Veterans Treatment Court Program, as well as Drug Treatment Court Program. We'll be quick here today. We are just requesting that $3,800 from the non-reverting fund currently used for Veterans Treatment Court be allocated to cover a salary gap that was for our case manager. Last year's salary was $45,000, and we're requesting an additional $3,800 to cover the gap from the absence of funds that was provided to us from the grant funding from Indianapolis. So the non-reverting fund is from fees that are paid by participants from the program. So the money is there. It's my understanding that we collected over $5,500 in that fund last year. So we're just requesting to use that money to pay for the salary gap for our case manager.
Okay. Thank you. Questions, comments from council?
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Judge Johnson, was this brought to the Budget Committee last year?
It was requested through the Budget Committee for the specific allocation, but that was not included in the budget.
Was it denied by the Budget Committee?
Yes.
One of the things in our rules, Mr. President, is that if the Budget Committee denies, it is not to be brought back for 12 months, just for situational awareness. Just, Judge Johnson, okay. I have nothing further, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, now, my apologies, moving on to 2026-9, Prosecutor's Office, Victim Assistance, Assistant Director Salary Adjustment Request.
Good evening, Rob Roberts, Chief Deputy Prosecutor. This is a request that we are making that will not impact county funds. We're asking that the salary adjustment be made retroactive to January 1st of this year. The Assistant Director position has traditionally been paid for through a grant, and that grant has continued to diminish in the income that it's providing. In fact, the position's taken roughly a $3,000 pay cut from last year to this year, when we know that over the last 2 years the county has been very aggressive in increasing the pay raises for the employees throughout the county. While this was brought forward in a different fashion to the Budget Committee this past year, it was not presented as a request for funding out of the infraction deferral program, which is what this request is for. That's why I say it doesn't impact the county general budget. This is infraction deferral income. And the reason that we're making the request at this point out of infraction deferral income is because over the last 2 years there has been an increase in income into that account that we think can now cover for this change. The position has not been a graded position because it has been grant funded. HR did evaluate the position last year. They said it established it as a grade 8, and the difference for salary and benefits is a little bit different than what we requested because there were some numbers that were confused. The 2025 salary was used when the numbers were originally requested, and then we learned that the 2026 salary was, as I mentioned, $3,000 less than the 25 salary. And so if the council does approve this, we'll have to come back at some point in time in the near future to correct that little bit of difference so that there will be enough money allocated to cover the salary for the entire 2026 period, roughly $4,000. Again, the request would come out of infraction deferral for that.
All right, questions or comments from council? This way, anyone? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
2026-10, Council Forensic Audit Request.
Mr. President,
Councilman.
I presented to the council members a draft motion that would, and I will read that into the record. Earlier in this meeting, several questions were posed regarding why a forensic accounting, why do we need to do an accounting review. The number one thing that as a council member that is extremely frustrating is that we often don't have a good idea as to exactly how much money is available for us to take any appropriations action. Come to the night with the idea that 3 things occurred last year that prompted me to consider the idea that we probably need to have a little bit better idea as to what money we have, what money we've already appropriated, and several different things occurred that were concerning. One, we had a reputable certified public accountant here in our community present to this council at one point during public testimony that believed that we had over $100 million, which was news to me. The next thing that occurred was when the State Board of Accounts came in, our super staff at the auditor's office even at one point found an account that had $1.2 million that had been sitting there for a while that was associated with the highway department, and was news to the highway department that they even had these funds. The most troubling thing that triggered my thought process towards this motion was in December, this council voted in good faith that we would create a new 911 tower project. I personally asked the question multiple times via several phone calls and emails. Was told that we had $7 million sitting in this account that wouldn't affect anything. It was available for us to spend. And then we were called into the auditor's office. We voted that in. And then we were called into the auditor's office in January to learn that, quite frankly, the funds had already been substantially appropriated and used prior. The big problem that we have as a county is that we have a large quantity of money that over the last decade or more, county councils have appropriated. I mean, we've tonight seen multiple occasions as to different department heads asking for funds. So the answer to, do I think there's some fraudulent activity? No. But I do believe that one of the keys to doing an extensive review so that every council member has something in front of them and we can actually make decisions on the financial future of our county a little easier. A forensic review may also have a performance audit in it, finding overstated revenue, hidden liabilities. It's prudent in a complex operation like county government to determine the obligations that may date back decades and compare that information with the current balance sheet. We're making decisions with hundreds of thousands of dollars on a monthly basis, and it's very disturbing to me that a month later we find out that we allocated money for something that we technically had already spent once, and we can only spend every dollar one time. So that the public has an idea of what I propose, and so the council members, I've given you a copy of this. It is a draft. I'm open to any types of changes that the council may ask for. County Council Accounting Review Project, $150,000 shall be appropriated initially from the Vigo County General Fund to the County Council line item 30700, which is professional legal services. For the Vigo County Council to direct or retain the services of special legal representation to manage and oversee a thorough forensic accounting of the Vigo County's current and future financial fitness. The council president may serve as or may designate a member of the county council to serve as a point person liaison to oversee any portion of the county accounting review project. Subsection 1, county council president shall identify and retain a law firm to perform and oversee the performance of the service requested to conduct the county accounting review project. The county council president or designee shall coordinate with the law firm to provide access to any and all records, materials, information, and documents required to perform and complete the county accounting review project. The council president or designee shall provide monthly reports to the council at the council's regular public meeting as to the status of the county review project, to provide public transparency of the process, and the council president or designee shall provide to the council at regular public meetings the final findings of the county accounting review project. Any and all funds associated with this transfer may be used for any legal expenses for any purposes or need incurred by the Vigo County Council with approval of the majority of the county council. The county accounting review project shall conclude with a presentation and report of the project's final findings to the council at a regular public meeting of the council. Again, the point is that there is no allegation that there is some nefarious activity going on, as much as we are flying in the dark, and I respect the fact that the State Board of Accounts comes in and just did a 2-year audit, counting the beans coming in, counting the beans going out, but we need a little bit deeper understanding, and we can't afford to have various members of the auditor's team finding that we've already appropriated money that we just got done spending for the second time after the fact. It makes for a real messy project, and I just want to make sure moving forward that any council member has the ability to have this information at their fingertips. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Questions or comments from council?
Would we have any idea how long? Don't turn off my mic. It was on. Do we have any idea how long it would take for an audit of that magnitude?
Do you want to take that, or you?
Yes, Councilwoman. I think that not until you actually have someone retained by the president to move forward. Obviously, we've got to move as fast as we can. We've got a budget that we're going to have to do mid-year, so hopefully it can be done quickly, but I think it'd be premature to try to guess as to exactly how long that will take.
I mean, like, would it be like months or a year or?
I'm hoping that it can move fast enough that we'll have something.
Would we
So
have it by budget time?
that's what that's my hope. But until we hire somebody and they sit down and say how long it's going to take, we won't know. We you know, and the other thing is there's no harm in trying to do this, and ultimately if it looks like it's going to take us some ridiculous amount, 6 years or something, I mean, we can always, you know, we could always stop and come up with a different plan. But my goal is to give you information as well as my other colleagues up here.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
who do you have in mind to do this?
Honestly, haven't started down that path yet.
Oh, okay.
Any other council members, questions or comments? Commissioner?
So, am I clear? You do not believe that the auditor's office is competent in getting you the information?
So this has never been done. I'm also following suit with what other counties are doing, sir. It seems to be an extreme battle from county to county that I've traveled to, whereby the commissioners seem to be against this, but the county president, county council, and the county council president have moved forward in various different counties. This is not a novel idea. It is an opportunity for us to get as much information as we can. And the only way to do it is to have somebody dive in, take a look at it. You asked me a very pointed question. Do I think the auditor's capable of doing it? Well, let me tell you something. We came before the public in December and voted on something thinking that we had the money, and our crack staff in the auditor's office did a great job. A day late and a dollar short. Came up in January. It's really, really hard for us to wind back something that the commissioners then went ahead and obviously you signed a contract.
I didn't sign it.
So,
if
yeah,
you want
yeah,
to be
okay.
very clear.
You haven't signed the tower contract?
I did not sign it.
Okay.
I voted against it.
Okay.
It was 2-1 vote, Mr.
Right.
Gentry.
So my point is that, you know, again, there is no allegations of nefarious activity. This is an opportunity that will not only serve this council, but the commissioners and future councils for who knows how long. But this is going to be good information for us to have, sir.
So your question, your investigation, and your research, this is $150,000 for just supervision of a project. So in your travels, how much does this cost these counties to do this?
It bases a lot about, each county has had to spend different amounts. We do not know that. This is an initial $150,000, as it clearly states in the motion, to attempt to get this ball rolling, to get someone to actually review, and then we'll get the details. And I think to my colleague, Councilwoman Vicki Weger, how long is this going to take? Nobody knows. This is simply posing a question and trying to get to the facts that will allow us to make very fiscally responsible decisions in a very trying fiscal environment, sir.
I'm confused. You don't know how much it's going to cost. You don't know how long it's going to take, but yet you've monitored other counties that have done it?
No, sir. There's numerous counties that are in the process of doing this. SB1, when it passed, sir, created a lot of drama and a lot of dynamics around the state. So various different counties have the same questions. How are we going to pay for things? How are we going to deal with a decrease in revenue? All this is doing is giving us the information we need. We've got the State Board of Accounts annual audit. We've got a very hard-working auditor's office. I get that. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, though, not to think that if we could get more information and have more understanding as to the fiscal well-being of this county, not only today, but into the near future, it just seems like a really good idea to give it a try and see if we can get some more information. That's essentially what it is. There are no more details. This is just as a start of a project. It can end tomorrow. It literally gives us an opportunity to seek out more answers.
When these other counties are doing this study, are they calling it a forensic examination?
I have no idea, sir.
No more questions?
Thank you, Commissioner.
I have one more comment.
Councilwoman.
I'm speaking maybe out of line, but it seems like it's insulting to our crack auditor staff that you're going to want to, I would think, they're capable of doing this. They're capable of auditing themselves. As far as, what I was also told was that, State Board of Accounts will come in and audit again if you ask them to. The IRS has people that will come in and audit the office if we want them to, at no cost.
Mr. President, have the floor.
Sure.
Answer that question. So,
It wasn't a question, it was a statement.
all right, well, I'll reply to your statement, ma'am. Have you reviewed what the State Board of Accounts produced? Have you read every page? Have you looked at it?
Have you?
I have.
No, I haven't.
All right. So the next situation is that I make this motion, you have a vote, you can vote it down. This is not an affront on any particular department. This is an opportunity to gather more information that will make us smarter and wiser as we move forward in a very difficult financial environment. That's the intent, that's its goal. I can't understand why anybody would be against having more information and more ability to make wise decisions for the financial future of our county.
Auditor.
So when we came in last year, this county had not been audited for 2 years. We lost GAAP. We were in process of losing bonding abilities. And there was a potential, because things weren't done, that people could have lost their jobs. And we worked hard. And I do have a crack group of people in this office. And yes, I do find it highly insulting that anytime that anybody in this county asks for anything, we get you the answers. And so, in my opinion, and just my opinion, I believe that, well, if you haven't had an instance where you have not got an answer, I would like to know that, because we've done our best by email, by text, by phone calls, to get you the answers that you need. In my opinion, I don't think it's a good, it's not fair to ask for $150,000 for a forensic audit when we're cutting other programs.
Yeah, and I'm in response, Mr. Auditor, I am sorry that you find this insulting. I truly apologize. My goal is to get as much information as we can. I gave you a perfect example of what happened in December. I sat in the meeting in your office in January. The key is that there's no reason to make those mistakes. There's no reason for this council to push forward on a project. And, you know, at the end of the day, every appropriation likely needs some review before we vote on it. Somebody from the auditor's office needs to look at these things and say, yes, we have not spent that money before, and yes, we do have it. There's a lot of very, very, I think the road ahead is very, very rough. So if you take offense to this, I apologize to you. However, it's not a review of you. It is a opportunity to get more facts so that we have a full picture and have the ability to make the wise fiscal decisions moving forward. And quite frankly, the motion can be voted down.
Also, I'd like to make a quick comment, and then I'll get to you. I apologize. Just to clarify, and I may have misinterpreted, I don't think he was saying crack in a derogatory. I think he was actually complimenting you guys.
I understood that.
Okay. I just want to make sure
no,
that was clear, because
totally-
it could have been interpreted either way, and I didn't want you to think he was saying it that
I'm
way.
good, I'm good.
Yes, ma'am.
I realize it can be voted down, and as far as I'm concerned, it should be, because to me, what you're asking for is $150,000 to go on a fishing trip. You don't even know what you're looking for. You don't even know what you're asking them to look for. It just seems like a waste of money when we're trying to cut expenses. It just, I mean, I realize we're not voting on it tonight, but that's my opinion on this. It's just a serious waste of money, especially when we do have a competent staff.
Well, and we do get audited every year by State Board of Accounts. And like somebody mentioned, I don't know who it was, but we have I think Commissioner Morris mentioned that we do have a office here for Melissa, who is our State Board of Accounts representative here for Vigo County and surrounding counties. At any given moment, in fact, I believe this morning I texted her and she gave me information on legal, for state and so on and so forth. So we have that ability now, and she will come in with a team, because they're here all the time, and they will audit us, and it takes, what, Judy, 3 months?
She's at the podium.
Oh. By the way, that lady right there is the hardest working person in my office.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
would just like to say, Randy, you keep referring to the December thing. Is that about the tower? Is that about the tower?
Yes.
Okay.
We had the meeting, and you actually were one of the people that spoke up in regards to, and we actually had a one-on-one conversation as well.
Okay, I was just
And
making sure. I just feel like that was a little bit misrepresentative of our office, because I didn't see the request come in. Brady had come to my office and said something to me about it, and I'm like, yeah, no. And immediately I was on the phone with the president, and I'm not anything against, I alerted him. I typed up everything what goes out of that. As soon as I found out about it, it's my fault I did not send it to everyone, but I did send it to Brad, and I did send it to David, the president and the pro tem at the time. So, like I said, okay, on me, that I didn't
No.
send it to everyone. I just thought I was doing the right thing. So I want to say that we did catch that, and I did pass that information on. So I
well,
want you to-
unfortunately, I didn't have it, and several of the members didn't. And again, my apologies to you if you take this personally. I'm just using examples of how things have come up. I would like a better roadmap moving forward. That's all I'm
fair. I
asking
just
for,
wanted to
just
say
more
that I
information.
wa-
No, you're
people think I
great.
wasn't doing
You're
my
great.
job.
You're great. And you're the one that caught it. So thank you.
So I would also like to make a public comment that, just in case there is any confusion as to whether or not we are doubting the ability of our auditor's office, that is not the case. This is not a statement, I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself, that for some reason we doubt their ability to do their job. There is more to it than what they do every day, and I think the goal here is to truly get a grasp on what lies ahead, what we've committed funds to in the past, so that we have a better roadmap of what we can commit to going forward. Commissioner Morris, I apologize. Go ahead.
Fine, I digress. As you remember, I got up here and spoke not in favor of the large project that you guys voted for. In the time that I had to review things, we cut $2.8 million out of it. I think there was more review required in it. Everybody seemed to get in a hurry. PSAT is there, it'll fund it without any problem. Maybe have to get a couple more years revenue in it, but it will cover the project. And that's what it's made to cover that project. And my struggle was very simply with the no-bid contract, and I think that some more cost could have been cut out of it. As I say, without very much effort, $2.8 million was cut out of it.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am.
I think, bouncing off of what Commissioner Morris said, I think the issue is the fact that it's being labeled as a forensic audit, when the intent of a forensic audit is to conduct a highly specialized investigative examination of an organization's or an individual's financial record to uncover evidence of financial misconduct.
Exactly.
Unlike a standard financial audit, which aims to provide reasonable assurance that financial statements are accurate, a forensic audit is designed to produce facts and evidence that are admissible in a court of law or other legal proceedings. And it just seems like that's where this comes in, that it's like an underlying search for fraud or something that was done unlawfully. And I'm offended for them.
If you want to, sure.
I don't want to belabor this. I've Googled this hundreds of times. Matter of fact, I've taken numerous Googles, and even though that pops up, numerous corporations, we've got a CPA right here, can and will do projects like this to find overstated revenue or hidden liabilities, and there is nothing nefarious about this. It's just an attempt to get more information. I don't care what you call it. Honestly, at the end of the day, if that's what's bothering you, change it. I want more information. I'm going to make a motion. If it doesn't pass, then we move on. It's simply an opportunity to educate this council and future councils to a roadmap as to how we're going to handle. And the auditor's office doesn't project and worry about this SB1 and is they're going to give us revenue forecasts. They do that, but we need some serious information at our disposal, at our fingertips, to allow us to make decisions tonight alone. Look at the quantity of money that's being asked. We need to know, is it something that's available? What's the long-term impact of that spending? All I'm asking for is more information. So if that offends anybody, I apologize. I'll even apologize. I'm on camera with the public. If the public thinks that we don't need to know, then get with your council members that represent you and they can vote it down.
If the goal is to save money, $150,000 is not getting us there.
Okay. Any other comments from council? All right, we're going to move on. Letter L, 2026-11, 2026 Vigo County Budget Adjustments, Corrections, General Fund.
I suppose I can speak on this one.
All right.
So this is a chart that I had put together with the help of Judy. So the first page you'll see is all the different funds that are going to need the additional appropriations. On the very last column, that'll show you the reason as to why we are needing it. It's things that you guys have already said during budget hearings or during your special call meetings that you guys were going to go ahead and move forward with. So like salary changes, the raises that you guys gave out, juvenile medical, that sort of thing is on here. Not everything on here is, so like in the action column, it'll tell you, we were able to transfer this amount to this and that sort of thing. So we've been able to do a lot of things behind the scene to not have to come back and ask for so much money. So I don't know, there's a page towards the back, I think, for your voting sheet. It'll kind of break it down for you as to how much exactly we're needing from each. On page 47 and 48 of your book, those are the totals that we are going to need for every department in County General, and then as well as your other funds. A lot of it is your payrolls adjustments. There was a few human errors that I had made too when we were doing inputting the adopted budget, so there's a few things on there that we've added as well.
Comments, questions, council?
Okay. So like your coroner, for example, that's the raise that you guys gave him, moving him up to that same paid grade as the other elected officials. That's the difference it's gonna cost in your payroll salaries, your FICA, and your perf with the grand total. I think building maintenance in your county general, there's a vehicle line item. That's because he also had a lease on one of his vehicles that we did not know about until after the fact. Because during budget time, we just completely zeroed it out since we weren't giving out any vehicles to people. We were unaware of that. So we're adding that back in for him.
I'm sorry, where was that at again?
That's your building maintenance
Okay.
for county general, your vehicle line item.
But they had a lease.
Yeah. So, and then just like, I don't know, like your recorder and your surveyor, those are your elected official raises that you guys gave out. So it's gonna cost that much money to bring them up to midpoint.
Mr. President, I couldn't hear what Councilman Anderson said. Your mic's off, sir. Your mic is off.
Sorry. Building inspection, they had asked for a new.
Building maintenance.
Building maintenance, yeah. New vehicles, we denied new vehicles. So this was on a lease, and they were getting funded, and we didn't fund that lease. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
The lease was already in place.
Yes.
But we just took the vehicles out.
Yeah.
Because we weren't approving new vehicles.
So we got the amount that he was needing for the year and put that back in.
Okay. Any other questions or comments by, yes, sir?
Mr. President, just because I know the public can't see this, it's in our packet, and it's, say what?
It's on the website.
Did you post it on the website? Thank you, Brady. It's $820,000. So, it's a lot of money, in a budget scenario where we've already extended ourselves, quite a bit. So, Mr. President, this is, starting to add up after a while, sir.
Yeah. So on page 51, that is also your restricted opioid fund. So you'll see that request in there as well from Judge Johnson with his 3 case managers and funding that office as well. So just wanted to point that out.
Point of,
Yes.
yes, Devin, in regards to that, so in December, I think the last meeting of December, the council voted to
Fund the 3 positions.
fund 3 positions, and then we're coming back now and actually making the changes to the appropriation.
Yes.
to do that. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, any other comments? And Judy, you said something earlier, I don't know, it wasn't on mic. Was it anything that the public needs to hear? Are we good? Okay. All right, moving on. 35? Oh, Vigo County budget adjustments, corrections, various funds. That's
Yeah,
that's
same
all
thing.
those, okay, same
Yes.
thing. Approving the amended ordinance adopting the 2026 salary schedule and compensation policies for Vigo County, Indiana employee, deputy coroner, compensation changes, election board, stipend changes.
So that's on page 52 in your booklet. They're highlighted in grayish. It's just a few little minor errors, so if you guys go ahead and move the pretrial screeners to that amount, that is what will change on page 53 for your pretrial screeners. And then 54, your deputy coroners, we wanted to go ahead, spoke with HR, and they wanted us to go ahead and put the wording back of how it was in the 25 salary ordinance. We had it broken down by like a day, it was just a different breakdown. They would like it as a full, this is how much they get for an annual rate, so we changed that back to match from last year. In section 13, the stipends will be paid twice a year for the election board. That was not included like it was last year, so we went ahead and put that back in. And then section 15 for your building inspection board, it had said per hour instead of per meeting. So I had spoken with Carrie Lindsay in the building inspection, and she said she would like for that to be changed as well, just to make it a little bit more clear.
Council President,
Yes.
I also would like to just let the council and also the public know that both Judy and Devin both stayed after hours multiple nights to make these changes correct, after there were a lot of changes made after the budget. It's not an easy task. It's not just something you just get on a computer and move a cursor and it's done. It's a lot of work and effort, and so I just wanted to make sure that you all knew about that.
Thank you both ladies.
Brady also helped type all these up too.
And
so-
Gent.
So.
It's very special.
And then you'll notice also on page 60, the chart that goes with the general ordinance, we removed the 3 case managers because we had put them onto the court salary ordinance, which is next.
All right, so which is letter O for anyone that's following. Page 60, I believe. While they're all spending a couple minutes looking at this, question, I don't know if it's for the auditor or maybe legal. If we want to set up a budget committee meeting ASAP, how do we go about doing that and getting it on the record? Oh, Brady.
Maybe I'm not the person to ask this. Why do you need one?
Well, because I had mentioned we're going to try to stick with anything that has to do with any type of pay increases, pay adjustments, grade changes, new positions. I would like to try to stick
Well,
with.
typically, budget committee hearings are for the following budget year. So in '26, our budget committee hearings are going to be for budget year '27. So what they've come before you tonight is to change the '26 budget, to add these funds for their salaries and their positions. So they're asking to change this year. That's what this council meeting, what you're meeting tonight and what you're going to be voting on next Tuesday is what would, allow those changes to happen. You don't need a budget committee hearing. This is the budget committee hearing for that. Does that make any sense?
No,
We want to refer it to the budget committee. We're putting it through the budget committee.
Oh, okay. Well, do what you want.
Okay, so knowing that, first off, with legal, do you see an issue with doing that for this year?
I think if you hold it, yeah, basically, if you hold a committee meeting, you have to adhere to the notice requirements and advertising requirements of any official committee of the council. So that's the barrier you have to worry about, is just making sure you satisfy the notice requirements.
Okay. And so can we put a notice out and, for instance, tomorrow, so that we can get it on the schedule as quick as possible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think it's 2 working days.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir. Do you have a comment?
Well, I mean, I think the budget committee's got to make sure that our schedules are clear and available to come. I mean, we don't want to have a meeting and nobody show up. So if we're doing this, I mean, I guess I'll just go ahead and ask. I mean, the 2 budget committee members, do you want to try to do this by Monday? You want to do it Monday?
Don't you have to advertise a certain amount of time before?
Well, that's what I'm saying is we got to advertise it. We got to advertise a date. So
So you said you need
we
48
can-
hours?
We can do it afterwards. I just thought if everybody had a date that they wanted to do it, then
And-
we'll deal with it later.
And may I sorry, this is loud, apologize. These are the changes that you guys made at the end of last year. And we're just trying to get you to pass so that we can pay the bills and so we can make these changes legally.
Well, I'm not necessarily referring to, I'm saying even within, up above, I think there was a few requests that are new, if I'm not mistaken.
Is
I
that
think you're
the
talking about 2 different things.
Okay.
They're talking about the things that came up tonight at the meeting that they want to do.
My misunderstanding, I apologize.
No worries.
Okay.
All right, so after the meeting, we'll have these 3 get together, see if they can set a date, and then perhaps Brady can. Okay. All right, approving ordinance 2026, we did that one. Public comments.
Did you want to talk about your court salary ordinance? Are you okay with it? Page 62.
Did I skip one?
Maybe,
What's that?
maybe.
Which one did I skip?
Your
My-
court staff salary ordinance, is it on your agenda?
Oh, approving, I apologize, one moment, I apologize. Approving the amended ordinance adopting the 2026 salary schedule and compensation policies for Vigo County court staff. And I will refer that to the budget committee as well, but if there's someone here,
No, it was just an adjustment that I had made to add in, we have 2 magistrate judges now. So in section 3 on page 63, I went ahead and clarified that because as it was listed, it just says like all eligible judges are entitled to the stipend. But 6 of those get paid through the state and your 2 magistrate judges get paid through county general. So I just wanted to make that distinction in there. And then in the table, that is where I added with some help from the courts. We went ahead and we redid their table. So the table looks completely different from what it was originally. It breaks it down by their salary base, their longevity with the total salary, and it now breaks it down by what fund each of these positions are paid out of. So it's just a little bit more clear to people. And then I added in your 3 case managers that you guys approved in December.
excellent work, thank you.
No problem.
Any questions on this, council?
Yeah, we'll have some.
All right. All right, Earl, if you want to go ahead and comment, we may come back to this in a moment.
Thank you. Council President Ellis, councilwomen, councilmen. I'm Orville Elliott, CPA, nearly 50 years in public practice in Terre Haute, Indiana. It was really hard to wait till now to make a few comments about this forensic audit situation. Is the draft copy of additional appropriation 2026-10 related to this issue on your website anywhere? Concerning the forensic audit request.
That is the appropriation that would pay for it, yeah.
That's not there yet? I'd like to request a copy of that as soon as I can get it and look at it. And then I'm more than willing to reach out to Mr. Gentry and anyone else that he thinks I need to meet with and talk about that, talk about his concerns, and then provide my feedback concerning exactly in the auditing literature what it is that would suit those needs. I just want to tell you, a forensic audit, as you read the definition, it's extremely extensive, and I just didn't want you to go there if you didn't need to. As an organization that is subject to open door laws and transparency, you just need to be careful what you ask for. If that works, that would be wonderful. I can be reached at Sackrider and Company, and I know I could find a way to get a hold of Randy. And then I also want to ask, do you all receive copies of the State Board of Accounts audit reports and related documents to look at? Okay. If you got those and kept those on your night table, you could forget about taking melatonin. I'll get copies of those for you and get them here at the next meeting. They're available on the state's website, but you'll quickly conclude that's not going to suit what you want. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to circle back just in case anybody had any questions about the court staff. Did you want to hold off on those questions until later? Okay.
Yeah, we
All
have
right.
discussion, we're just listening tonight.
Okay, all right. All right, appointments. There are none? That was, yeah, we did, I didn't know if there was something different other than what we talked about earlier. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?